Okay. These are the cool things that we can do with Excel. Now we can take this even further. What I want to show you is what's called an amortization table. Does anybody know what that is? An amortization table shows us how much we pay each month that goes towards interest, because when we make that $1,800 payment, how did we get to $3,200? Oh, 10 years. Whew, let's go back to 30. When we make that $1,800 payment at 5 3/4%, part of that goes towards interest and part of it goes to what? Principal. Now, what happens with the principal? What does it reduce? It reduces each month the amount I owe. And if I reduce the amount I owe each month, then I pay less interest each month, right? Okay. Again, not meant to be negative. Debbie Downer, yeah, but it kind of is. Exactly. So here's the thing. Exactly. So we'll take our little, we'll call this months. Okay. So each month, the first month, second month, third month, for how many months? Do y'all remember? No. 30 times 12. 320. Is it 320 or 360? 360. Sorry, you're right. So we're going to make these payments for 360 months. There we are. Each month is now listed. Did I have 370 on there? Oh, I'll go back. I'll be down there in a minute. Okay. Now, we then have what's called a beginning balance. What's our beginning balance the first month? If we haven't made a payment, what's our beginning balance? I wish it was 0. 320,000. Okay. Now each month I'm going to make a monthly payment. How much is my payment? So this is going to always equal this. Okay. Now we're going to go through this, but is this going to change each month? No. So what I'm going to do, and I'll show this to you, is I'm going to absolute that. That way when I fill it down, it stays at that. Okay? Because here's what I want to show you. So then each month when I make that payment, part of that goes towards what did you say? We start with the interest. And part of it is principal. Okay? I always remember principal versus principal. That's our pal, our buddy, the principal of the school. Okay. So part of that payment's going to go to interest, part of it's going to go to principal, and then we're going to take the principal minus the beginning balance, and that gives me a what each month? Come on. If at the beginning of the month I start with a beginning balance, what is it called at the thank you. Jeez. We're going to have an ending balance. So now what we need to do is figure out how much of this is interest each month. Well, our interest, yes, our interest is calculated on what? It's calculated on our beginning balance. We're going to do monthly interest, okay? So this is going to be my beginning balance times the monthly interest. So times, oops, do I have monthly interest listed on my sheet? Do I have annual interest? So I take the annual interest divided by what? Divided by 12. That's now the monthly interest. Are you ready? How much do you think? A lot. You would be right. $1,500 of my first month's payment is going to go towards interest. So if $1,500 goes towards interest, how much do I have left to pay on the principal? This equals what? Holly, what does this equal? Can you tell me?
330.
How did you? Hold on now. I'm asking Holly. Is your name Holly? Oh, I shouldn't have. About 300. About 300. Okay, look, folks. It's the monthly payment minus the what? Interest. It's exactly, Holly, $334.10. It's not about 300. OMG. Well, yeah. Technicality. What's my ending balance then? Equals B10 minus E10. Very good. Wonderful. So now at the end of my first month, I only owe $319,665.90. Yeah. Because I just reduced my total amount owed by $334. Now, who really won on that transaction? Not you. The bank won. That's why they do it. So the bank's going to make sure they get as much interest as they can at the start. So here's the thing. Suddenly my ending balance for the first month becomes my what? Beginning balance. So this is going to equal F10. Then what I'm going to do, if I did this right, which I know I haven't, because, see my interest here? I need to go ahead and absolute that so that every time it calculates as I go down, it absolutely uses this number. It doesn't suddenly use 30 as the interest rate, which would be 3,000%. That'd be cool if I was investing money. Not so cool. So here we go. Let's see how I did. If I did this right, and I fill this down, what we should see is that my principal increases each month and my interest decreases because my starting balance was left, right? And then if we take this all the way down to my 360th month, I have been in this house for 30 years and I have faithfully made every single payment for 360 months. What should my balance be? Nope. Here's why. My first column is my month. You're looking at the row. So we got to be careful with that. My balance is 0. I have paid off my home. If we then came down here, this was our interest column, right? So if I take this and say equals the sum, give me the total sum of this column here. I should get the exact same number. That's the interest that I paid on this home. $352,275. Remember we calculated that? $352,275. So I know my numbers are what? Correct. I just audited my table. Now, remember I said that when we invest and we get a raise, we take some of that money and put it into our investment, right? So let's say we do that, we pay ourselves first, and then we start paying down our debt. Okay? So the family decides, you know what? Yeah, instead of having that brand new phone this year, we're going to go one more year with that phone, and so we're going to put $100 towards our house payment. Okay? Just $100 a month. So instead of this being my payment, okay, I'm actually going to pay this plus what? Plus $100. Oops. So here's the cool thing. I'm actually almost making another house payment every year, aren't I? So then I'll take that and I'll fill it down. Watch what happens at the end. What do you think is going to happen?
Less interest paid off sooner.
Well, number one, I'm going to pay it off sooner because if you notice, these are now what? Are these positive numbers or negative numbers? Is that a negative number or a positive number? It is not a positive. See these parentheses? That indicates a negative number in Excel.
Oh, there's not just a negative symbol?
Watch this. No, there is. I can make it negative. I can also make it red. I can make it negative and red. But in accounting, we use parentheses. Why? Because that little negative sign can be hard to find, right? So we use big parentheses. Watch this. You see this adding up over here? Watch the column over here. Watch right here, folks. Here's the magic. I'm going to add this up till I get to my first negative number. There it is. So in this last month here, in my 316th month, I only owe $270 on the house, right? And then after that, the house is paying me. What was that number? 44. By paying just $100 a month from the get-go, I cut 44 payments off of that. Here's what I really cut. Watch this. Now it's not the sum of all the numbers, right? I got to just sum the numbers where I paid interest. Equals the sum of, and I'm going to shoot all the way back up to here. And every time there's a positive interest, I'm going to add it in. Which there's a lot. Come on, interest. Here we go. There we are. The last month I paid $1.30 in interest. By just paying $100 extra, I went from 352 down to 301. Now let's be clear, I've actually paid more each month, right? So when I'm figuring out if I should do this, I need to look at what the original was, what my savings is, and how much additional it cost me. Okay? Because here's the thing. How would you answer this question? We're going to make it easy. Your bank comes to you and says, Eric, we've got this really great way for you to save a bunch of interest on your house. Instead of making a monthly payment, you're going to pay twice a month. You're going to make 2 payments each month, bi-monthly payments. We're going to keep your interest the same, okay? But you're going to pay bi-monthly payments. How would you find out, is that worthwhile? By the way, and the bank says, and we're only going to charge you $10 a month, a service fee, because we got to process another payment. Do you do it or do you not?
You ask how much the payment is.
You ask how much the payment is. Well, the payment's half.
Oh, if you're paying that, then you're losing even more money because now you're paying a $10 service charge too.
Here's the problem. I'm not asking you for your opinion. Prove it.
Oh. So you can,
how would you do that?
You can just go to your payments, which at the very beginning, I forget whichever cell it is.
Okay. You can go to my payments. Here's my payment.
You'd want to divide B5 by 2. You're now paying twice a month. So it's going to be half of it.
You want to go B5 by 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So each payment, I'm going to pay half of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So equals this divided by 2. I'm thinking you're thinking so far.
So now you know how much you're going to pay twice a month.
Okay.
And now you're going to want to add $10 to C5.
Okay. I can do that here in a minute.
20.
I could add $5.
Yeah.
Because they're going to charge me $10 a month, so I could add $5 to my payment, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to add $5 because it's not going to reduce my balance. It's just a service fee. So we'll figure that out at the end. Okay, here's what we do. I'm going to stop you because I want to get through this.
Okay.
Here's what we do. We look at the first one. So our first payment, our first option is to pay every month oops, what? Oh, I know what happened. You know what happened? See all this mess up? I didn't make this absolute. So the next payment it says I made was $672,000. See, because it iterated down. We'll talk about iteration. Okay. So what I really need to do is come in here. This is going to equal this absoluted. Now, as I bring it down, my payment stays constant through the life of the loan.
Does Excel have an undo button?
It does. I could, yeah, it's right here. I could have undone. In Excel, I like to fix my thing because it helps my thinking process. So I don't just hit undo. I go fix what I did wrong. That's also a way to audit to make sure I'm doing it right. Does that make sense? So, just something I do. So, here I'm paying $344,000 in interest. Let's figure out how much it saves if I make 2 payments a month. So now, what we do is we come over here. We come all the way back to the top. And now, instead of making, I'm going to take all of this. Control V. There we go. Instead of making 360 payments, how many payments am I making? What's that? 720 payments. I'm going to make 720 payments. I'm just simply going to pay twice a month, right? Come on. I'm going to make 720 payments. There's my 720 payments. So instead of this, instead of months, I'm going to call this payments. Okay? What's my beginning balance for the first month? It's the same, $320,000. Okay? Now, what's my monthly payment? $933.72. Do we all agree?
No.
No, because every payment. So yes, it is. It's $933.72. Instead of paying 1 payment a month, I'm going to pay 2, half of the payment, right? Because I said we're going to keep the payments the same. So F4, $933.
Didn't he say what's the bimonthly payment then?
Yes, thank you. So now, well, each bi-monthly payment, yes.
Because the monthly payment would still be the same.
Yep. So now this gets a little funky. Now I need to figure out my interest rate.
If you just split the interest rate in half.
Annual budget is 24.
Well, I can't just split the interest rate in half. I want to answer this question. Because if I split the interest rate in half, I'm not being accurate. Because here's what's going to happen. My interest for this payment is going to be calculated on my beginning balance, right? So every month, the idea is that my principal gets lowered faster, which it does, sort of. So my interest is going to be my beginning balance times my annual interest rate, which is here, and then say what you just said, divided by 24. Why by 24?
Because they're now making 24 payments a year.
I'm making 24 payments a year. So I need to figure out what the bi-monthly interest is. Does that make sense? Do we need to figure out what that is real quick? We can. This might help people. Let's go back over here. No, because you're paying an extra. Okay, we're going to see, Holly. So this is our what? Our what interest rate? Be specific. Annual interest rate. Let's figure out what the monthly interest rate is, just so we can see what it is, okay? And then we'll figure out our bi-monthly interest rate. So here, this is going to equal what? We've already done it. It's going to be this divided by 12. That is our monthly interest rate. Now let's figure out what our bi-monthly interest rate is. Yep, so we'll take our annual interest rate divided by 24, and that now is our, and if you think about it, look at it, it's half, right? So now we'll come back over here. And here what we said was, It's going to be our annual interest rate divided by 24, yes. So then what's my principal? Say that louder. Okay, so it's going to be the bi-monthly payment minus the interest. So our principal is going to be reduced, our beginning balance will be reduced for our first payment by 167. So what's my ending balance? Equals my what? Beginning balance minus my principal. And then my beginning balance the second month is my ending balance of the first month. Y'all are getting this. Now I know I need to come up here and I need to make this absolute.
How do you do that? You keep doing that.
So how I do that is I highlight the number I want to make absolute, and we're going to talk about absolutes next time, okay? And I hit the F4 key, and it puts dollar signs in front of it. And I always like to use the term absolute because here's what it's referencing. It's saying absolutely always use this number, okay? Because Excel is programmed to do what's called iterate down. And we'll talk about that, no worries. So here's the thing. We then take these numbers and we fill them down. And did my principal increase a little bit each month? Did my interest decrease each month? So it should be good because, again, if we did this correctly, which I got to be honest, I'm not 100% sure we did, but we'll see. We know what's our audit. If we did this correctly, what's my balance at the end of my 720th payment? 0. So I'll just fill this down. Can I get a do? Oh, sorry. Do. We're off by a little bit. Okay, so something's up. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's probably, notice we're close. We're 1 month off, right? So our difference is probably some rounding that's being done someplace.
No, isn't that just right? So, I mean, you just take it out.
Oh, it could. No, we still. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. So we saved some money in paying off the house early. The question is, how much did we save? Well, did we still pay interest? This was our interest, right? K is our interest. So now what we'll do is we'll go add up our interest. Equals the sum. Remember I told you there was a better way to do it? Can you imagine having to do this formula? Equals K729 plus 728 plus 727. Would you want to do that formula? No. Okay. So equals sum of this column here. Because this is our interest, right? Agreed? Mm-hmm. We'll put the parenthesis at the back of that. We saved some serious interest, people. Our interest to make 2 payments a month, $351,473, right? I'll come up here. Where was our other interest? For our first loan, this was the interest we paid, right? So this is going to be equals this number here. Do we agree? We were going to pay $352,000 in interest, but instead we only paid $351,000. Now, the bank told us we were going to save interest. Were they correct? How much did we save? We take this equals what? B7 minus C7. We saved $800 in interest. The bank didn't lie to us, right? However, you're forgetting about the $10 charge. Well, we didn't forget about it. You just brought it up. Thanks a lot. How many $10 did we pay? We paid every month $10. So how many months did we pay $10? Well, no, 720 payments, but not 320, 360. So see, for 360 months, I paid $10, right? So if we take 360 months times the $10 I paid a month, in order to save $820, I paid the bank $3,600 for the privilege.
Good investment right there. Don't trust the bank.
No, don't trust the bank. Now, if y'all want a loan, come to me. Yes. How before today would you have decided if this is a good idea? You can see why these went away very quickly and why class action suits. Because it was deceitful practice. The fact is, the bank did not say, yeah. The bank said we're going to save you interest. And indeed it saves you interest. And everybody looked at that and went, oh, then I got to do it. But see, the bank made $2,700 more because you made this extra payment. We already saw that what we should do is keep our original payment and just pay more each month, right? We cut 44 months. We cut almost 4 years off and a bunch of interest, close to $50,000 in interest by paying just $100 a month. See, now you know. Now you know what happens when you invest money. You know what happens. You can, by the end of this, you could probably sit down and figure out how much you're really paying for the cost of your education. See, because the thing is, as some students that I'm helping, they're looking at their debt, and then they're looking at the career they're going into, and they're seeing how much money they're expected to make starting their career, and then how much their expected income is to grow over the first 5 years of their career. And they're looking at this going, maybe this isn't the career for me. If money is important, I want to be really clear, we're talking a lot about money. And when you finally grow up like I did, you realize that maybe money's not as important. Okay? I could go right now and be a cybersecurity expert and make a lot of money and work really hard and not be there to pick my kids up from school and not be there to be here for all of you who I get the privilege of teaching this